Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the AM&P Technology channel. Guess what we're doing today? You don't know, I'm going to tell you. Remember last time, well maybe you don't remember, I did make a couple of videos in regards to replacing front and rear wheel bearings on this Mercedes right here, ML500. And in so doing, we discovered that the tie rods, the steering tie rods in the front, the rubber boot were worn out and starting to leaking grease. And so I said to you, you know what, we're going to replace this in the very near future. So here we are. We are replacing today the inner and outer tie rods on this Mercedes ML500. So let's jump right in. Obviously, the first thing we do, we jack up the car, right? We remove the wheels, and then we expose the elements where that we're gonna work on. This is what I was telling you about. You see it? Remember what I was telling you the last time when we did the wheel bearings? These boots were split, and it's starting to not be pretty. Also, there's a little bit of play. See it? I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little bit of play right in here, and this is why we're also doing the inner tie rod. So what we'll do is before we even break anything, because mind you, now this car is aligned. The camber, or the toe, I believe that's what they're called. So what we're going to try to do, we're going to make some permanent marks between the movable surface, which is the hub that spins this way, and fixed surfaces such as the upper A-arm or the lower A-arm, so that when the time comes to remove the inner and outer tie rods and we install the new ones, we have a rough point of reference of how this wheel is going to be once it's done with the installation. Now, tie rods is a typical component that when it's installed, you will have to take the car to a wheel alignment shop, which we will do in this case on Tuesday, since Monday is a holiday. It's a Labor Day. It's a Labor Day. We're in a Labor Day weekend right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to replace the tie rods inner and outer, and then we will take the car for wheel alignment on Tuesday. But what we will do is we're going to make some marks so that when we remove everything and we install the new components, we have an idea more or less how this thing is aligned to the best alignment possible, so that we could drive straight to the wheel alignment and not destroy the wheels, the tires, any more than it needs to be. Okay, let's make this happen. As you can see, we made some marks between a fixed point and a movable point throughout several areas of this front. Let me see if I can show you some more. See, there's some right here as well, and there's some down here as well. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see it? And the reason for that is so that when the time comes, you know, I made another one right there. You see it? So that when you align, what I'm trying to say here, they made another one right there. You see it? I don't know if you can see it. It is right there. So that when the time comes to put this inner and outer tie rod assembly all back in together, we're going to try to align this as best as possible, so that when we drive to the wheel alignment shop, we're not in such a bad shape, wheel alignment wise, that we end up destroying the tires before we even get there. So now that I have some permanent marks between the hub and some fixed components such as this one here, we can start removing the inner and outer tie rods. Let's do it. Well, we got it done. We took the inner rod off, and I used a 1.5 inch bunny wrench with a pipe. In this case, it's the handle of the jack. I wanted to take it off as a whole unit, but actually couldn't do it. So I actually ended up removing the outer rod first, which ironically this ball joint is still good. Just that the boot is broken and it's leaching grass, and it's only a matter of time before it becomes an issue. This also was still good. It's not really moving a whole lot. See, you keep moving with your fingers, but there is no play in it. It was actually in good shape too, but I figured if I'm going to do it, might as well do it. If I'm going to do the outer rod, I'm going to do the inner rod too. Things I'm going to keep from the old assembly are this special nut that cinches against here to make sure that it squeezes the outer rod on the shaft of the inner rod. And this is the new one here, so I won't be using this one here. I'll be using this other one instead. I'm going to keep this clip here because I like it. And here's the new boot. Also, what we're going to use is some Loctite. I'm going to use some Loctite. I'll use the red tag, so I got some Loctite red up in here. I'm going to use a 263 thread lock. I don't know if you can see it. It's a high strength thread lock. I'm not going to soak it. It's not necessary to do that. I also have the 242 blue, but we're not going to use this one. We're going to use this one right here, the 263. We'll put a bead. There we go. I'm going to put a bead right on here, just kind of a line. And so as this thing threads into the rack and pinion there, I think that's what it's called, the rack, the steering rack. And then it'll be enough a thread lock to keep it tight. We're going to torque it, but not to such a degree that I'm not going to crazy torque it, guys. But put it tight, you know, get on there. I mean, I used a 1.5 with a pipe, so just keep that in mind. I don't know what the size is in metric, but a 1.5 inch worked. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to clean these threads on the inside here with, I have a cleaner. I use toluene as a cleaner. And you guys, if you're into race car, you should look up, for your own sake, I think you'll like this kind of information. If you're into sports cars and you're into a high horsepower, see how much octane rating, what the octane rating is for toluene. Guys, you will be surprised. As a matter of fact, in the 80s, Formula One cars used to use toluene as fuel, and I want to say 85% of it was toluene, and some 13% gasoline and 2% diesel. I'm not going to get into the reasons as to why that was the case, but this also is a phenomenal cleaner, much like gasoline. It is the same chemical composition. It is a petroleum product after all. So what I'll do is I'll clean the thread inside there with toluene. I'll clean this thread here, the new part, with toluene. We'll put a bead of Loctite 263, a high strength red. Obviously, we don't want this thing to come off. And yeah, so to recap, remove the outer rod first. Remove the clip. Remove the clamp from the back of the boot, the one that goes back here. Remove the clamp from the front of the boot. Slid the boot out. Once I remove the outer rod, loosened up the nut. Obviously, you got to loosen up this nut too before you can move the outer rod off. And then with a 1.5 inch. We broke the torque on this, and here we go. This is where we are. Now it is time to put it all back together, guys. As always, don't forget to give it a like if this video is of help to you, and would appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel as well. And let's put it all back together. And the job here, guys, it's done. We did align it to the best possible between the upper and lower notch right here. So are the other several marks to the best degree possible, as you can tell. So what I did, the 1.5 inch nut on the inside, I put some red Loctite, as I told you. Used the pipe wrench. Then I slid the boot on. I did use a Beck Arnley for the inner tie rod, because it comes with a boot and the clamp and everything else, which they're not sponsoring me, but I'm just giving you guys a tip here, so that if you end up tearing up your boot when the time comes to remove the inner rod, at least the assembly comes with a new boot, and it came out pretty nice. I put the old clip on the outer part, and I put the new clip on the in part. Again, 1.5 inch, tightened the nut to the rack and pinion. Then once that was done, I used a 15 millimeter right here. Once you screw on the outer tie rod, you're going to end up making the adjustment with the 15 millimeter here. And I believe this is a 22 millimeter. Let me double check. Excuse me. Yeah, once you make the adjustment with the 15 millimeter here, then with the 22, while you hold the 15 millimeter, 22 millimeter, you tighten. When you got your lines all lined up, here's a 22 millimeter as well. I got to tell you, the job came out really, really nice. I'm happy with it. And what you see done on the left side, you're going to do on the right side as well. However, guys, I do make a recommendation to you. Get yourself a wheel alignment. Don't think, oh, well, it rides fine. Don't do that. If you're going to end up tackling this job here, get yourself get a wheel alignment done, because it matters. It saves the life of the tires. The wear ratio is improved, and it makes for a safer car too, guys. All right, I hope this video was of help to you, as it was enjoyable for me to do this job for you guys and for myself and the wife, obviously, because she appreciates it. She appreciates it when I take care of the car for us. I got to tell you, I'm really pleased with it. Again, guys, it's done. It's done, and I'm really liking it. As always, give it a like if it was of help to you. Don't forget to subscribe, and we will see you at the next video, which will be the rear control arms, because the boots are not the same type of setup. In the back is similar to the front, but instead of being a steering system, it has a fixed control arm with the same kind of, because it's independent suspension, same kind of thing. A-arm on top, A-arm on the bottom, control arm on in the back end to adjust for this part of the wheel. All right, guys, we will see you at the next video. Take care.